Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop, EmeraldPlanet. All the ecology news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's your host, Executive Director of the EmeraldPlanet, Dr. Sam Lee Hancock.
Hello and welcome to the EmeraldPlanet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President, Executive Director of the EmeraldPlanet and EmeraldPlanet TV. We're looking around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And also, of course, we need to focus on the people that are making a difference as we move forward to 2050. And we have a theme that's called Paving the Way to 2050 Future Earth. How are we going to be able to accommodate and take care of 2 billion new souls? And almost 60% of those, it's estimated, will actually be females. And so how are we going to educate, provide health care, jobs, and to bring them into the communities, give them positions of leadership, authority, and at the same time to create new businesses that are going to make a difference as we move forward. And so I want to come up with this first slide that we have here because we're going to be talking about an organization that I come to know through CEO Space, which is for entrepreneurial training and education, and is a worldwide effort, just as a movement of the EmeraldPlanet. It's called the Women's Information Network. The Women's Information Network. The founder and CEO is Dr. Paula Fellingham of the Women's Information Network. And we're still trying to get Paula on Skype. She's actually at a global conference in Henderson, Nevada, that is coming in, and they're trying to get on Skype as we speak. But I'm going to go ahead and talk to the issue as far as the Women's Information Network and what's going on with that. It's known as the WIN. And the reason for the WIN, it looks like we're getting ready to have Paula is coming in on it. But as far as the WIN, it's a win-win situation for the communities, for the females within the communities, and also within the nation states itself. The Women's Information Network has 156 countries involved. And what they have been doing over the years is to develop a cadre of leaders. And so it looks like that we're going to get Paula coming on in the next few minutes. And so anyway, Paula, can you hear me? Paula, can you hear me?
All right.
Hey, there you are. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, it's good to see you again, and welcome to the EmeraldPlanet. And I know you've been extremely busy at CEO Space, and hopefully you told Bernie that I said hello and we're going to be together. But I was actually introducing the Women's Information Network. So since you're with us now on Skype, tell us a little bit about the WIN.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity, and I applaud you for the wonderful work that you are doing. Yes, the Women's Information Network is the fastest growing global women's network in the world right now. We are in 152 countries. Our mission is to strengthen women and families worldwide through education, enlightenment, and entrepreneurship.
Well, I notice, we're going to cut back and forth here, but the one thing that I noticed in the overview that you had, that you're interjecting love into this whole thing of entrepreneurship, community service, and education, and I thought that really is a very special quality, so let's weave that into the story.
Oh, I am so happy to do that, yes, in an effort to eradicate illiteracy, poverty, and hunger. So here's the big why, and to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace on earth.
Well, I think this is one of the things that you and we first met at CEO Space. I told you, and you told me right back, so we were mutually sharing is that I get up in the morning, you get up in the morning, we declare peace on the earth. And it's quite a different attitude than when people are trying to go to war all the time over resources, land, and other types of issues.
Absolutely.
So looking at the wind, tell us a little bit about the Women's Information Network and why you chose that name.
Ooh, I love that question. We want to share information with the women of the world, and our motto is, we are women helping women live our best lives. And we do that online and on land. So online, we are just launching now. We had lots and lots of hundreds and hundreds of audio shows, but those kind of went the way with the old internet, and now everything's video. So we have eTV for women. So this is online television where the women are able to film from their home and share their messages, 30 different topics, so everything a woman cares about in our studio, our virtual studio at the Wynn.
Well, I think it's really fantastic what you're doing, and the whole notion of having education, because as I was saying right when we were trying to bring you up on Skype, is that there's going to be about 2 billion new people on the planet by 2050, and fully almost 60% of those, if the percentages keep going as they are right now, are going to be females. And so just think, and 80% of those are going to be in developing countries. So you're reaching out like the Emerald Planet to provide education now, but also access to the ideas of entrepreneurship and business. So why did you select information and at the same time entrepreneurship as the bedrock of what you're doing with the Wynn?
Well, now is the time. As you mentioned, there is a beautiful awakening of the women of the world that is more fast-moving and far-reaching than anything that's ever happened in history. We're witnessing a beautiful increase in the consciousness of the planet, but especially women. More and more are being educated, which of course that means that they're coming out of survival mode and moving up into self-development and self-mastery, and then up to selfless service, which is where we all want to be.
Well, I want to bring up this slide because we have the emblem as far as the Wynn is concerned. We can bring that up along with you. We'll bring you right back, and at the same time we'll have both. But looking at, there we go, looking at the logo, tell us a little bit about this logo. It's high energy, high color contrast. I think it's just absolutely wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. This is our Wendy. She's our logo lady, and she's winning. What do you do when you win? You jump up in the air and you put your arms up, and that's what she's doing. She's really representing the win of the Women's Information Network. And it is high energy. Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at how you're reaching out, I know you're doing the online, you're doing the on-ground, both of those. Tell us a little bit about the mix of the online and on-ground and some of the activities that you have on-ground.
All right, I'd love to. So we actually put on the largest gathering of women in the history of the world for International Women's Day. It's always March 8th, and we put that on. March 8th, 2011 was the 100th anniversary of that holiday, International Women's Day. In the United States, it's not a national holiday, but it is in most countries throughout the world as they celebrate women. It's called International Women's Day, and we have the .org. And what we did is we put on 377 live events in 152 countries, and that was March 8, 2011. And now we're putting on 1,000 global women's summits all over the world, 1,000 live events.
I think that's absolutely incredible. And so you're doing these live, you're doing them on ground, you're doing them online. And I know that you're actually archiving all of this so that if people miss these or they want to go back and they're wanting to look at financial security or how to do marketing and advertising, all the various topics that you have, actually they can go back to your archives and look at them in asymmetric, meaning at any time they want, correct?
That's absolutely correct. And then, you know, although we do the online, we love the online, we really do encourage the women to consider putting on an event in their community globally, because we work with them very, very closely to put on events all over the United States and then all over the world. And we give them, it's actually a business in a box, because they can make money doing this, and it's a win-win. We're in the business of creating win-wins with women all over the world as we help them live their best lives. As I mentioned, our motto is women helping women live our best lives, and that includes helping them financially, create businesses, grow businesses. What do you do when you have the desire to be an entrepreneur and you just don't know where to start? Well, we help you do that.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I know that one of the questions I had, and we have a little bit of insight into that, but how are you really bringing about change? I know that you're teaching about entrepreneurship. You're trying to have collaboration among women within countries and also across boundaries around the globe. So how are you weaving that narrative together so that you have women inside their own countries, whether it's Uganda or Uzbekistan or Denmark, and then leverage that so that they actually really do have the support to create their own business? And we have about 1 minute left, so.
Okay, well, that's a great question. Speaking of Uganda, let's take that for an example. We had a global women's summit in Uganda where only 2 of those women owned computers. So see, the online wouldn't have worked as well for them. We had 298 women at our global women's summit where we taught them how to, at that level, then we teach these precious women how to fund just small businesses through microfunding, and we train them, and then we help them, mentoring them. And so education, using the women in the countries with their cultures, their languages, their know-how, their expertise in the countries, we help them, train them, and they teach their women. Well,
it's like train the trainer, and I think it's absolutely fantastic, Paula, what you're doing in that, because you really do. And I've looked back at some of your archived materials, both the videos and in some of the TV work that you're doing, and they really are instructive and educative, but they're short enough so that you hold the attention and they can digest that information and then go for more. So what do you see for the future as far as the win? And we're going to be out of here in about 20 seconds. It's quick.
Well, we have about 1 million visitors to our website every month. Our email list is 50 million, and we're in 152 countries. So we will continue getting larger and larger and larger. We see women all over the world being.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. This is Dr. Paula Fellingham. She's the CEO of the Women's Information Network called The WIN. And thank you for being with us as we look around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.
She's had more than a dozen fractures. And in the next few years, she faces 2 major surgeries to strengthen her fragile bones. She's only 10 years old. Most people don't worry about fragile bones until late in life. For those with osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bones are a concern throughout their lifetime. Find out how you can strengthen this child's future.
Diabetes is a killer. After I was diagnosed, I didn't feel sick, so I didn't listen to my doctor. Then it struck. I had a heart attack, then a stroke, and I was only 49.
Most people with diabetes also have high blood pressure and cholesterol, which can cause severe heart damage. In fact, 2 out of 3 people with diabetes die from heart disease or stroke.
Don't let diabetes destroy your life.
Call for your free diabetes survival guide. Choose to live.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, coming to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for the best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. As we've talked about on this program before, we now have 7 billion plus souls on the planet, and by 2050 it's estimated that we'll have 9 billion new souls. And clearly over 1 billion of those will be female. So how are we going to educate, take care of the health care, provide the incentives to allow them to be fully engaged in their local communities in the 196 countries around the globe, and then also the territories that have these new female entrants onto the world scene. And so we have an organization, it's called the Women's Information Network, that's actually making a difference now before we actually get to 2050. And we have joining us is Bridget Cook. She's the Vice President for Global Relations of the Women's Information Network, known as the WIN. And Bridget, welcome. Okay, we're going to have to get the audio up for Bridget, and let's see if we have that going. And Bridget, I know that you've been very much involved in CEO space, and we welcome you to come into the television program. It looks like we have something on the screen that we don't need. But anyway, the WIN is the Women's Information Network. This is operating now in 152 countries around the globe, and my understanding is there's over 500 million females that are in this network, so that is definitely a huge organization. And so as the current generation, and they pass on the information to future generations, this is really a very important organization. Bridget, do we have you on now with voice? Okay, we're still trying to get it fixed on your side. I'm going to go ahead and just talk a little bit about the Women's Information Network. This is something that was actually started by Dr. Paula Fellingham, and she is the founder of this organization. And this is both an online and on-ground organization that has chapters all over the globe. Like I said, it was 152 different countries where they're operating, and they have about up to 1 million or more visitors a month to their website. They're also operating through radio and television, the ETV program. And so this is a way that they can actually share the information so that people know exactly what it is they're doing, provide information on small business creation, interpersonal relationships, cross-cultural communications, entrepreneurship, and a number of other topics which are very important for the development of small business around the globe. Because as we've learned over the past decade, the number one way to create jobs, and of course our emphasis through the EmeraldPlanet is upon green jobs, is through small business. Most of the large-scale businesses and even the governments themselves have been declining as employers over a number of years, and this is not something that's happening right now. But it's something that's been going on for almost 30 years. And so even though there's a downturn as far as large-scale businesses and governments and employment, this is something that's been going on for some time. So anyway, we're still trying to get Bridget Cook through Skype.
Sam, can you hear me?
There you are. Welcome.
Well, we were saying we didn't touch anything. We don't know why you couldn't hear us. So.
I just couldn't hear you. I could see you giving some great information to me. But as I want you to know that I did a very nice job. I studied much about the wind, and so I was just going on about the information. But people have been communicating for centuries. And how does the wind increasing the dynamics as far as the communications among women within country and across borders around the globe?
Well, I'll tell you, storytelling is the way that we as people have gotten messages to each other for generations, for centuries. And the stories that we tell ourselves are the most important thing. What I love about the WIN is that it assists us to tell a new story. It's about that story of women's empowerment, but the difference that women can make on the planet. And, women, when we work together and when we tell our stories, it has to do with the entire planet. We start with our families, and then we reach out to our communities, and then to the world. So women can make a significant impact on this planet in very significant and beautiful, empowering ways.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and of course, I think what you're doing at the WIN and Emerald Planet, we complement each other, and Paula and I met through CEO Space back in 2010, and we've been communicating throughout that time about what you're doing and bringing you on the Emerald Planet. And in the future, we want to share the stories of a number of these women in the different countries. But why do you think that women that are part of the Women's Information Network are more conscientious and are really more focused on not only just the business and their own communities, but also the environment?
Well, there's a Native American leader who one time said, when we walk upon Mother Earth, we always plant our feet carefully because we know that we are looking upon the faces of our future generations. And that's one thing when women make decisions, they make sure that they're not just encompassing, okay, what's the profit for me today? What is, the best decision in the short term? Women have a tendency to make short-term and long-term decisions within their communities that they know are going to affect their children and their grandchildren for years and years to come.
Well, I think that's really a powerful statement. And before I ask you the next question, can you make that statement one more time? I just love that. It's the first time I've heard it. Please share it again.
Okay. It goes, when we walk upon Mother Earth, we always plant our feet carefully because we know that the faces of our future generations are looking up from beneath the ground.
I think that's something that we need to be sharing with the male gender all over the planet. So that we keep in mind, because really everything that we're doing, and if you look at the proverbs from throughout Asia, from Africa, South America, it's all about the future generations. So how is the WIN participating in sustainable green movement across the planet?
Well, let me give you an example. I'll give you a couple of examples. One is that I, for one, have come from a business background. And as far as my business background, it's in trucking. And in making the decisions about which equipment to use and what we're going to do in moving forward, a lot of people think, oh, a trucking company cannot be green. In fact, a trucking company must, do all these things that's horrible to the environment. Well, a trucking company, especially the new equipment that is out, actually cleans the air as we're driving. And it also brings needed supplies for a green environment. So that's one thing I think, women and men I see making a lot more decisions based on, okay, what is going to be the long-term effects of this? One thing that you'll know about the Women's Information Network is that we support a lot of initiatives, and we have some humanitarian initiatives. One of those, which is extremely important, is that we are working to bring electricity to a lot of outlying areas that do not have it. And electricity is specifically tied to longevity in these communities.
Well, that's one of the things as far as the Emerald Planet, too. We have what's called the Power for Peace, and that's at the household level and also at the community level, to allow each family and each community to be self-sufficient in food, water, and energy. And it sounds like, again, that's another parallel that's going on between Emerald Planet and the Women's Information Network. But give us some examples. I know you talked about the one where you're bringing in, I would assume that's going to be sustainable and renewable energy into this community. Are there several other examples that you can give us from your global network of people that are involved in the environment?
Yes, well, to go along with the solar panels, one of the things that we're doing too is to bring in solid state refrigerators because of medicines needing to be refrigerated. And that's just one specific example. But as you know, you mentioned the amount of women that are being born in the world and are rising up. And the wonderful thing is that as they see their mothers put together these green initiatives, they're going to be doing the same thing. And the Women's Information Network, we support these entrepreneurs, and we do everything we can to network them together. So there might be a woman in Uganda who's bringing in some solar panels, and another woman who's got this incredible technology for cleansing the water right on site. And then we have another one, men and women who are bringing new products to market. We just talked with a gentleman at CEO Space. Fantastic new product. It's a green antibiotic, if you can imagine that. So it's something that is safe for human consumption, and it assists with diarrhea and other things that cause illness and death in children in particular. But also those green antibiotics will be able to be used for cattle worldwide, cutting down on the use of harmful antibiotics for, any of us for consumption. And so, by networking at CEO Space and with you, Sam, and with others, we're able to bring these technologies out into the field. And the win is so powerful because we have this opportunity to bring this woman and this woman and this woman from several different countries and bring them together in a powerful network to bring several resources to every community.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic what you're doing, and the emphasis is on the green. That's one of the things when I first went to CEO Space several years ago, went through the program, is that there are a number of people are really focused on the environment, and it's a similar thing that you're doing through the WIN itself. So we're just about out of time, actually less than a minute, so you have about maybe 30 seconds. Need to be quick. What do you see for sustainable green development through the WIN over, say, the next 5-10 years?
Wow, the next 5-10 years.
Got to be quick.
Oh, go ahead. Say that again.
Got to be quick.
Okay. Well, what I would say is just like the networking that took place here, I can see that, the most important things, electricity, clean water, clean food, the access to medicines, and especially education to these women and to their children and to the men in the community so that we can continue to build life.
Well, Bridget Cook, Vice President of Global Relations of the Women's Information Network, the WIN, thank you for being with us. And thank you, dear viewers, for being with us as we look around the globe to create the Emerald Planet.
Some dreams are universal. Dreams that inspire us. Multiple sclerosis is a devastating disease that changes lives forever. The National MS Society does more for people with MS than any organization in the world. But we can't do it alone. To get involved, visit us online at nationalmssociety.org or call 1-800-FIGHT-MS. This is why we're here. Because nobody dreams of having multiple sclerosis.
What's wrong with this picture? Half of young Americans can't locate economic powers like Japan and India. 20% can't even find the Pacific Ocean. Without geography, our children aren't ready for the world. Geography is everywhere. It's incredible creatures, rhythm, fashion, flavor. It's economics and politics. It's change. Understanding connections between people and places is critical in the 21st century. That's why we created mywonderfulworld.org. Go there now for your free parent and teacher action kits and give our kids the power of global knowledge. Because kids who understand our world today can succeed in it tomorrow.
to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C., looking around the globe in 144 different countries, looking for the 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And of course, we're emphasizing the people that are going to be able to take care of those technology, services, and products. And as we move towards 2050, increasingly the number of those people are going to be directly involved, creating small business, and to be the entrepreneurs as we improve and enhance the quality of the environment and the planet will be females. And that's a perfect segue right into the Women's Information Network. We have Shantel McBride, who is the Vice President of Communications of the Women's Information Network. And she's been involved with CEO Space, a member of that. And Shantel, are you with us? Okay, we're missing the audio again, so I'm going to just jump right in as a little refresher on this as far as the Women's Information Network. It's operating in 152 countries, and they are working on getting the sound. But in these 152 countries, there's almost a million people that are involved in this, primarily female. And so this is very important. And my understanding is the network of the Women's Information Network has over 500 million women. That is an absolutely incredible number, 500 million women. And as we know, in many of the developing countries, as many as 80–85% of the small businesses that operate at the local level, whether it's in the satellite towns within very large capital cities, and also as far as out in the villages, are female. And so what the WIN is doing is providing the information about how to start your own small business, financing, how to manage communications among the women within the community, also within the district, state, or province, and within the country itself, about the notions of entrepreneurship, and then how to transfer that knowledge to the younger generation, the young women within their own households. And so as we move towards 2050, over 1 billion new females, and we'll say that again, 1 billion new females will be on the planet. And so how we're going to be able to take care of them, providing the education, the health care, the food, water, sanitation, all the things that are needed to make sure that things are going to work on a day-to-day basis, that not just to sustain life, but actually to enhance and bring about a higher quality of life. This is one of the debates that's going on with the United Nations, the Inter-American Development Bank, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, many international bodies that are saying is that as we add 2 billion, there you are. Oh,
can you hear me? No, I can't hear you.
Well, that's okay. Well, we were saying very good things about you and about the WIN, the Women's Information Network. Shantel, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you. You're coming through loud and clear. We have your logo up on the screen here. Tell us a little bit about the different types of communications systems that the WIN is using to reach out to these, 1 million females that are coming to in through your website on a month-to-month basis.
Yeah, so we have an extensive website, and that is www.thewinonline.com. And we're all over the world. We're in over 152 countries, and communicating with these women and on all kinds of initiatives, all kinds of things that are brought to the forefront, humanitarian efforts, just anything the women are needing help with, which is a lot out there.
Well, I tell you, with the number of females, and I was just sharing and maybe you didn't hear that, but in many of the developing countries particularly, it may be as much as 80–85% of the very small businesses are actually owned and controlled by females. And so what you're doing is you're providing the training and the education they need to either start a new business or enhance what they have, correct?
Yes, we have many programs that will help them with their business as well as finances, strengthening the families, just believing in themselves as well, personal, business. We have a membership program. We pretty much have it all covered. Whatever they need help with, they can come to our website, and we've got women all over the world actually even placed in different countries that are ready and willing to help these women with their needs.
Well, I know that your founder and CEO, Dr. Paula Fellingham, who I've known now for a number of years, is really keen on providing any kind of services that are needed, and so I'm sure that you're reaching out. So how are you actually, through the WIN, improving the environment within which these women are living, both for themselves personally, but also their families and the communities within which they find themselves?
Well, one of the things we want to do is correlate health and electricity. And we're trying to get fridges into those places where they don't have access to that, and being a solar fridge, that they can keep their medicines cool. Therefore, they have the medicines that they need. There's so many people out there suffering and needing medication, but they have no way to keep them refrigerated if needed. And so we really want to try and start getting those fridges out there with the solar panels on them so they can have access to their medications that they need.
Yeah, when you say fridges, you're talking about refrigerators. We're translating for people around the globe that need to know that. But using the solar panels, and I've shared this earlier, we have a program, Shantel, called the Power for Peace, and that's to bring about self-sufficiency at the household and the community level for food, water, and energy. And so it sounds like, again, you're running in parallel with the EmeraldPlanet in that. How quickly are women around the globe picking up on this, the need to have a high-quality environment within which they are living at the same time while they expand their own business?
Well, faster than we can keep up. That's when we need help. There's, women all over that are needing these items and needing these things and needing this direction and this leadership. And we just want to get it out there to visit our website, and we can communicate with them where the help is needed, get them connected with that right person in that right country, and get these things moving along.
Well, you're in 152 countries, and of course, I know you'll be expanding to the total number, which is 196, and I think along with the territories, it's about 213 countries and territories that we actually broadcast to on a week-to-week basis. But how are you networking within each of these countries? Give us a typical example of, say, a country in Africa or South America that would give us an idea of how you're actually operating within a specific country.
Well, we're actually planning and executing the Global Women's Summits. And so when we go into that particular country, the women are just flocking to us. So it's almost, we're attracting what we need in that space. And also CEO space this week. We've been here since last Monday, and it's Sunday today. So we've been here a week, and we've actually made some amazing connections. We now have an ambassador for France, Australia, and we also have one for Japan.
Now, when you say an ambassador, it's not the ambassador of the country, but ambassador from the WIN itself that's going to be working with you in those countries.
Yeah, we haven't quite got to that point yet where we can elect the ambassador for the country.
Well, that's not bad where you start issuing your own passports and stamping visas. You definitely have arrived.
Never know. Never say never.
Oh, I agree with that. EmeraldPlanet's the very same way. But how do you see the role expanding for women in these various countries where you're working as far as the environment itself is concerned?
Where the environment is concerned? Well, women, we're very nurturing. We're very passionate as it is. And so when you get someone passionate and nurturing onto the, keeping the environment protected and wanting that clean water and those clean conditions, then that's when it expands, and that's when people flock. And I, for one, am a big, huge fan of green. I use a steamer. I steam my whole house. I do not use any chemicals whatsoever, and I would never go back. I don't even know how to clean the old way with a mop and bucket. And so for me, I'm really big on that and recycling, and I have a hybrid car, and just, you know, really helping keep the planet clean. And we can teach those women, even if they don't have access to a steamer, there's other things, and I'm sure you cover that, of what you can do. And once that catches on, and there's a leader out there wanting to keep that environment clean, and they can see what it can do for them, for their families, for their health, it just goes from there.
Well, I know one of the things that India has been involved in, and this is spreading around the globe, is just a very simple fact of washing your hands every time with soap. Much of that actually can be made in the villages themselves, and very inexpensive. But you know, this is just one way that you can kill about what they say, 94.5% of the germs that you come in contact, even if the water is not as pure as in some countries, but just simple hand washing and things like that. And so it's really very simple ways, Shantel, that we can actually improve what's going on around us.
And it's an education, just educating those people, and if they need, you know, maybe it's even a matter of providing that soap so that they can wash their hands, even something as simple as that.
That's fantastic. We only have about a minute left. Is the WIN only in English-speaking countries, or only in English? Or have you now branched out into the various national languages in these 152 countries where you're operating?
Oh yeah, we have women. In fact, we just found a couple of gals here this week that speak 7 different languages. And so we're out there, you know, we're all over. We have very much a presence with not having that language barrier. We don't have to worry about that. We've got women that are willing to help and help in those areas that can communicate and send out the message that needs to be sent, and to collaborate on these initiatives.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic, Shantel, what you're doing through the WIN and through the Women's Information Network. We actually just ran out of time, and we're going to have you back, and we'll be talking with you again in the next few minutes. But this is Shantel McBride, Vice President of Communication for the Women's Information Network, the WIN, operating in 152 countries and looking around the globe as they identify the best practices, collaborating with a number of organizations like the EmeraldPlanet as we create the EmeraldPlanet.
This is firstgov.gov, where we're obsessed with getting you government information.
Brand new student loan applications on the site, baby. This calls for a celebration. Where's your uncle?
So in the end, it was either take the astronaut gig or come work here. What can I say? Duty called.
Dude, that's my cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's Sam's cop.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No. Sam's? No.
Just log on or email us and get what you need.
C, change of address form. That's how it's done.
D, driver's license renewal.
E, emailing Social Security information.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice, we'll allow it. All right, Ed.
What are those?
Government surplus cars for auction.
You posted those online last time.
No, you did.
I'm posting them online this time.
For all your government information, firstgov.gov.
Oh, what have we got here? Sometimes you feel tired. You can't seem to lose those extra pounds off your midsection. And your joints hurt when you take the stairs. Well, you're getting older. But I'm happy to say that there's some simple things we can do to keep you happy and healthy for years to come. We can also lower your risk for some serious diseases the older population is often subject to. Proper nutrition is more important than ever. Your body has changed, you know. Not as many treats. A basic exercise plan, lots of walks and fresh air, and most importantly, come and see me for twice-yearly checkups to help ensure the best possible quality of life. Now, how does that sound? Good boy.
Improve the quality of life for your elderly pet. Schedule twice-yearly checkups that include preventive care and regular lab work. A message from the veterinary members of the American Animal Hospital Association.
back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you from Washington, D.C. in the United States, looking around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technologies, the services, and the products as we move forward through the 21st century. I'm Dr. Sam Hancock, the President, Executive Director of EmeraldPlanet and the EmeraldPlanet TV, and we come to you on a weekly basis to bring you the latest news, the best ideas, and the best practices that are truly making a difference as the planet moves towards 9 billion souls, 9 billion souls, and how we're going to bring about an enhanced quality of life. We have a group that's very active in 152 countries. It's called the Women's Information Network, called the WIN, and we have Dr. Paula Fellingham, who is the CEO and founder, Bridget Cook, who is the Vice President, Global Relations. Bridget, you want to wave?
Hello.
There you go. And then we have Shantel McBride. Shantel, wave. There you go. Vice President of Communications. And these three dynamic women are taking the Women's Information Network around the globe. So welcome to the Emerald Planet.
Thank you so much. We love being here and appreciate the good work you're doing, Dr. Sam.
Well, you're doing absolutely fantastic, and I always throw this in. We met through CEO Space, and we have to say hello to Bernie for introducing us. But Paula, tell us a little bit about your Global Women's Summits and how are these actually helping the environment?
Well, the Global Women's Summits are being held all over the world, and one of the things we're doing there is asking all the women of the world the same questions. We ask them, what are your issues? What is it that you need help with? In addition to 3 of the same questions we're asking all the women, so that then we can go to these international bodies of representatives and say, we know what the women of the world want, what they need, because we just asked them in person. So that's powerful. But when we ask the women so many times, they tell us what they need. And that's the beauty. Each one of these countries, they have different needs, but some of the needs are the same. They all want their children, their families to be healthy. They want great conditions, to live in conditions that then foster productivity and foster good health. And they're very willing to do what it takes if they can. They many times don't know what to do to fix some of their problems.
Well, I think what you're doing, Paula, is absolutely fantastic, and it really, that's almost the opposite of how most people think development occurs. Many times it's people in the developed countries are saying, this is what you need to be doing and this is what we want you to do, instead of asking the question like you're doing and then allowing them to give you the feedback and then working with them in collaboration to actually ameliorate the challenges and the problems that they're faced with.
Well, it's all about collaboration, and I truly believe, Dr. Sam, that that is the key to any company or organization thriving in the 21st century, is really knowing how to collaborate. And how do you know how to collaborate if you don't connect with the people and ask them, what do you need? And then address those needs. Now, I'm one of the people that does not think that the United States has all the answers, that these people, precious people in the countries, have many solutions that they can create if they just had a little help. And it's in the underdeveloped countries, it often comes through education and then microfunding, especially for the women, and then mentoring. And we love that triad.
Well, Bridget Cook, tell us about the women and why should they and why are they actually caring about the green movement, and what do you see happening through the work of the WIN to actually create a new environment and address severe climate change?
Well, I think it's fascinating. You know, you and Paula kind of mentioned this awakening that is taking place across the world. And we have found that women are hungry to be a contribution and that they are awakened. A lot of men and women are awakened. And I think as we're moving forward, we're very clear that we have a ripple, every single one of us. And that can be a negative ripple or a positive ripple. And so when we're making the decisions, particularly women, you know, we're thinking about our children, we're thinking about our grandchildren, we're thinking about our communities. And so it makes a difference what our contribution is going to be as an entrepreneur. You know, am I going to take this green initiative, or what could I do to make my company more green? As I'm hiring people, what modes of transportation are we going to use? Are we going to work from home through computers? You know, we think of all of these different things in light of not just the immediate gratification of a dollar, but for the long-term benefit of the whole.
Well, I think that's something that's very important, and it goes back to what Paula was saying, is that you ask the question, be quiet, and listen to them. That's something my grandfather taught me when I was a child, and it was a lesson that I've tried to implement and use throughout my life. But at the same time, we have to educate and then involve the people. And I think, Bridget, that's what you're talking about, is that you listen and then try to match the resources. But Shantel, it seems like there's something within the wind that's something about the big why. So why don't you share with us what this big why is all about?
Well, the why is, just like has been already said here, but I'll say it again, is just that women are hungry. They are needing what we have to offer, and we're bringing it all together. You know, someone's got to be out there in the forefront and gather these women and figure out a way to get to them what they need wherever they are. Because sometimes they're a little bit harder to reach than just around the corner. And then we're doing it. You know, we've got this. Women, you know, we've strategically placed different women all over the world, and we're going to reach them. You know, however we have to do that, we've got the means, we've got the needs, and people are out, the women are out there waiting, and they're waiting for us, and we're going to reach those people.
I'd love to tell you about one of our projects in the Kibera slums. Is that all right, Dr. Sam?
Well, yeah, and actually, give me 1 minute, because I want to follow up on what Shantel was just saying, and then we're going to go into, also we'll do the slums, but also what you're doing in Sri Lanka as far as the computers are concerned. But I think, Shantel, one of the things that people don't realize in the developed world, that in many of the developing countries, in some ways, they're more advanced than we are. One is they have great interpersonal communication networks and extended family networks, but also they've jumped right into the iPhone world and the virtual space. And so they're using, in some ways, much more advanced technologies than we have within our developed countries. But Paula, going back, you're talking about the slum, but also if you can weave into that narrative about what you're going to be doing about providing computers to over 14,000 villages in Sri Lanka, so that all these people are networked to the globe.
Yes, we have huge humanitarian projects, and one of them is when I was in Sri Lanka, then I asked them, I said, what do you really need? What can we help you with? And they said that there are 14,760 villages, and most of them do not have computers in their schools, like any computers. So I said, what if we were to provide you with 14,760, and then we put it in your main location where, like a school district here in the United States, it would be just the local school district, and then people could share, and then we would work on, and obviously increasing that number. And they said, wonderful. So we went to Microsoft, and they said, great, we'll give you that many computers. Now here is the challenge. It's not, how do you get a computer that was created in the United States with it's not compatible with their system of electricity, number one, so that needs a converter. Secondly, then you put it on a boat, you know, and get it down there, and the biggest problem of all is having it stolen between the dock and getting it to each one of these remote villages. Believe it or not, there is a challenge. Some of these humanitarian projects, they sound like they might be easy, and getting the computers was the easiest part, but actually getting them to the villages is the biggest challenge, and we're working on that still.
Well, that's one of the things that we have in EmeraldPlanet on the Power for Peace, and we talked about this earlier, is making them independent as far as the food, water, and energy. So once they get to the village, like you said, it doesn't mean that there's going to be the actual power, there to run this equipment. So there are many challenges that we have, but you're thinking in the right direction. You're talking with the females that are part of this million plus that are coming to your website. They're coming to your ETV programs. You'll get it figured out. I think that I have perfect confidence you'll do that. Bridget, looking at what do you see for the WIN over the next, say, 5, 10, 15 years?
Oh, you know what? I see one of the most incredible, you know, we've been talking about a ripple. I see one of the most incredible ripples moving out across this planet. It's very exciting, and we've been talking about that spirit of collaboration. That comes very naturally to women, and so the networking, the building, the lifting, the supporting, and the love, just like we were talking about at the beginning of the program, that is the one emotion and the one force that's going to absolutely take this into a new millennium.
Well, I think that the whole thing of collaboration, and I'd really just go back to this term as far as love. You know, it's love within the family, it's love within the community, but it's really the love of the planet. It's a love as far as what life is all about, what it should truly mean, and love for the next generation. So you've got it going in spades. We're running out of time. Shantel, what do you see as far as communications and education through the WIN over the next, say, 20 years? And then we're going to have to be quick. We only have about 30 seconds.
Oh, quick in 20 years. Okay. Well, first of all, communications. The most important thing is just get to our website, and that way we can capture you. We can direct you in the right direction. So that was www.thewin.online.com. You get there, just get there, and we'll help you. There's a lot of us just waiting. Operators are standing by. We're waiting to take your call. We're waiting to help you. We'll reach you however we can.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Paula, we have 17 seconds.
All right.
As the CEO, your last parting words.
I'd love to share a quote in parting. It's by Mother Teresa. She said, "Spread love wherever you go. First of all, in your own home, give love to your husband, your wife, your children, your next door neighbor. Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier."
Well, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And we have 3 absolutely fantastic dynamic women. Dr. Paula Fellingham, CEO, Bridget Cook, Vice President, Global Relations, and Shantel McBride, Vice President, Communications, the Women's Information Network, the WIN. Thank you for being with us, ladies, and thank you for being with us.